Midnight Facts for Insomniacs. I just learned something. Oh, I'm having fun now.
That's probably what keeps you young.
Hate. Hate keeps you young.
Want to stay youthful? Despise someone.
And I do. It doesn't work.
I refuse to die before my enemies. That's why I know I'm going to make it for a while.
Yep.
This episode, Duncan, is the result of miscalculation.
That seems to happen to us a lot. Maybe we should calculate a little better.
Calculate?
Calculate. You don't speak this language? It's a great language.
Maybe we should speak a little bit clearer.
I don't.
These last 3 episodes, they were supposed to be one single show.
Okay.
I initially did all this research for just one episode.
Yes.
And then, as often happens, the rabbit hole grows and there's just more digging to do.
And then it's an elephant hole.
Yeah, I cannot stop myself sometimes.
I know.
This is the problem when the Insomniacs choose a really good topic.
Yeah.
And I just, choose shittier topics, Insomniacs.
The blame is just shifting down the aisle. The finger just continually moves. It's never stopping on Shane.
Nothing's my fault.
None of it.
So what do you know, Duncan, about Orson Welles?
I'm not answering this because last time I answered, we had a whole fucking episode out of it. So I'm saying nothing. Nothing. I know nothing about Orson Welles. He never did a radio show.
Okay, so you know that he did a radio show.
Yeah.
I think that's what most people probably know is there's a movie and then there's the radio show. What do you know about William Randolph Hearst?
I know the name. That's about all I got. I don't know much about him as a person.
What do you know about the year 1940? I'm trying to get you to do this episode.
I know.
I don't want to do it.
I'm not good at this.
Here's the topic. Go.
And monkey. All right. I know the 1940 was before the war.
Okay, so we're not going to have you do the episode then.
No. It's a bad plan. It's a bad plan. I don't even like doing the ones you make me do.
1939 to 1945 was the war, and we're not actually talking about World War II, but this was a couple of things were happening at the time, right? So the war was in effect. However, Americans were not involved in the war yet.
See?
The war started in 39, but we didn't get involved for a while. We were just like, this is, my name is Paul. Another thing that was going on in 1940 was the end of a terrible time in America. The Great Depression was starting to fade. Or at least the economic one. Every other type of depression is still here.
Yeah.
None of it is great.
No.
But at least we have pills for that.
And I take them.
Back then, they just had to white knuckle through it.
Yeah. No, people died.
Oh, man.
A lot.
So radio was the primary form of entertainment, but movies were starting to really gain traction.
Nice.
Notably, Gone with the Wind and The Wizard of Oz had been released in 1939, just the year before. They would become pretty successful. Have you heard of these little indie films?
I've seen clips.
They actually competed with each other. They went head to head in that year. And there was one big winner. Do you know which film was actually the biggest film of all time if you account for inflation?
No.
Well, it was one of those two. You want to guess?
No. Do your goddamn episode by yourself. I'm going to sit over here and be the monkey.
I didn't know this. The Wizard of Oz, huge box office disappointment. Gone with the Wind, on the other hand, an absolute juggernaut.
Oh.
It was massive. It is still the biggest film in the world, again, accounting for inflation. Wizard of Oz, though, became like a cult hit over time. But, it didn't go over well at first. So this Depression-era beef would be between two guys who on paper did not have much in common.
Okay.
George Orson Welles was born in Kenosha, Wisconsin, May 6, 1915. Just like his future rival, he came from wealth. He really didn't suffer in the Depression.
There's wealth in Iowa?
I'm not sure how Iowa was doing, but in Kenosha, Wisconsin...
Wisconsin is one of the ones nearby.
Doing just fine.
Got it. Got it.
So his father had made a fortune in the bicycle business.
As one does.
His dad had created a specific type of headlamp for bicycles. I didn't look into which specific type, but it was a popular one. His parents separated when he was young. He was around 4 years old. And his dad, unfortunately, became a pretty hardcore alcoholic. Didn't take it well. Or maybe they split because of the, it could be a cause and effect here.
Yeah, rooster egg.
I often don't have sympathy for rich people. Like, just if you grow up with privilege, I sort of have a little bit of bias against you.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate talent. And Welles, despite being a spoiled rich kid, 100%, was also incredibly talented throughout his life.
Yeah. There's a multitude of reasons to hate him. I got it. Because there's nothing worse than a spoiled rich kid who also has lots of talent. Because then you just hate them. It's like having a beautiful person with genius level IQ. You're like, oh, go fuck yourself.
He was also very good looking. That's the trifecta of go fuck yourself.
It's absolute go fuck yourself.
But he was able to parlay his talent at a very young age into success. He moved to England, and he started doing theater there at 18 years old.
Jesus.
Sorry, it was actually Ireland.
So further.
Well, now I don't respect it as much. Anyone can be the best actor in Ireland. There's like 3 of them.
Wow.
So at 18, he was in Ireland. He was gaining recognition playing Macbeth at the experimental Gate Theater. And the following year, he moved to America. He made his Broadway debut playing Tybalt in Romeo and Juliet.
Cool.
From a Turner Classics biography, quote, a series of collaborations with director/producer John Houseman led to their participation in the New York Federal Theater Project. Their first great success was Wells' staging of an all-black, quote, voodoo Macbeth, which demonstrated his penchant for stretching existing forms beyond established limits. Wells and Houseman eventually formed their own repertory company, the Mercury Theater, enjoying success with their 1937 production of Julius Caesar, which Wells rewrote and set in contemporary fascist Italy, unquote. You get the idea that he was willing to toy with the conventions of theater and do things that were transgressive, that a lot of people probably weren't real happy about, but, good on him.
Absolutely.
So just like many other stage actors did at the time to get more exposure, he started working in radio. He was directing his Mercury players in dramas on CBS radio.
Okay.
He would have his biggest break at 24 years old on Halloween 1938 when he conceived and produced the viral sensation that was the famous War of the Worlds broadcast, which we have talked about before. It started with a warning that everything that followed was a dramatization. So right up front, they were like, hey, chill out, everyone. It's not real.
Right.
Trust me, aliens are not invading, which is kind of weird that you have to give that disclaimer. But
not really. People are stupid.
It's true. I was going to say, like, people back then might have been more gullible, but no, now it would be even worse.
Oh, God. You would have people lining the block. Yeah. Some with signs, some with shotguns. Yeah.
A lot of people freaked out. Not as many as we like to believe.
Yeah.
But even though there wasn't a huge, massive panic, there was a viral sensation over the belief that there had been a huge, massive panic, and that brought newfound notoriety to Wells. He had already been gaining some traction. He had been well known in theater circles, but now he was becoming a household name. As a result of his newfound notoriety, Wells scored a 2-picture deal with RKO Pictures. In fact, the studio had so much faith in this young rising star that they offered him $225,000 and final cut. He would get full control of his first movie. This was an unprecedented deal, especially for a first-time filmmaker who was 24 years old.
Yeah, I'm going to need you to stop saying how old he was because he's half my age and way better at shit, and I don't want to hear about it anymore.
I feel like
skip past that shit.
Giant loser. I agree. I have made 0 RKO pictures, and as we established, we are both basically cadavers.
Absolutely. Rotting as we talking.
So this is where we're going to leave Orson Welles for now. He is searching for ideas for his feature debut.
Yep.
And flush with cash and just making everyone feel bad about their lack of accomplishment.
Yep.
Okay, so let's turn to the man on the other side of this rivalry. This was William Randolph Hearst. He was at least as well known as Wells and even older than us.
That's impressive.
If you can believe it.
Yeah.
He was very much not of the same generation as Wells. Hearst was 76 years old at the time.
Whew.
Now, we have covered an age gap rivalry on the last episode, Asano v. Kira. And just like this one, I'm definitely, I don't know if I'm biased or whatever, but I'm on the side of the younger guy for the most part.
Right. Being the younger, prettier, more talented guy, weird that you would pick that one.
Well, you would think I'd be more embittered
Yeah.
and not be on his side. But I just feel like if you're 76 and you have beef with a 24-year-old, you're the problem.
You're doing something wrong.
Yeah. If you have beef with other 76-year-olds, you're both the problem, but you're also like my favorite geriatrics ever. I love you both. I love the idea of a septuagenarian being super petty.
Yeah.
It takes so much energy to hold a grudge.
Yeah.
Good on you, man.
Yeah.
That's probably what keeps you young.
Hate. Hate keeps you young.
Want to stay youthful? Despise someone.
And I do. It doesn't work.
I refuse to die before my enemies. That's why I know I'm going to make it for a while.
Yep.
So William Randolph Hearst, he was more than just successful. By this time, he was a legend. He was basically the closest thing America had at the time to royalty. He was also politically connected. His father had been Senator George Hearst, and he himself would serve 2 terms in Congress. He would run unsuccessfully for president in 1904. Ironically, one of the primary reasons for his loss was because he was considered at the time too radically progressive for the Democratic Party.
Wow.
That would change radically, you might say.
This is what radicalized him in the other direction.
So William Randolph Hearst, he was born April 29th, 1863 in San Francisco. He was the only child of George and Phoebe Apperson Hearst. He was raised extremely wealthy, as I mentioned. His father had built a vast fortune as a mining magnate. No bicycles involved.
Yeah. Mine carts, though, which are super fun. You ride in them, they go far.
I don't know if he innovated in the field of mining carts, but, maybe mining cart lamps.
There you go. See?
So according to research company EBSCO, quote, George Hearst had come to California during the 1849 gold rush. Enjoying a combination of geological skill and innate good fortune, he discovered or was a partner in some of the largest mines in the nation, including the Comstock lode.
I know that word, or series of words.
Oh, I'm not.
Yep. Come on. You're already thinking it nice and loud.
That was in Colorado.
Uh-huh.
And the Anaconda copper mine in Wyoming.
Wow, so we got lode and anaconda in the same sentence.
At least it wasn't the Anaconda lode. That'd have been bad.
That'd have been funny.
So George would acquire the newspaper, the San Francisco Examiner, and that would be the beginning of the empire. And he got that as payment for a gambling debt.
What
So it was just kind of by accident.
What is the number of scotch and sodas you need to have under your belt to go, my life's work, push it into the center?
And a bunch of other people's livelihoods.
Yeah, really.
You're gambling your staff.
Yeah.
That's wild.
What is your life?
Oh, man. So Hearst's newspaper career began when he inherited that newspaper, the San Francisco Examiner, from his father. And he immediately got busy undermining serious journalism and making a ton of money by printing sensationalized headlines, focusing pretty much exclusively on sex and violence.
I mean, I don't dislike it. He is too an innovator.
Time-tested technique.
Yes.
Yeah. Also, by the way, lies.
Oh, fun.
From a PBS article, here's a quote from Vern Whaley, an editor for Hearst's Herald Examiner. Quote, "We had a crime story that was going to be featured in a 96-point headline on page 1. When I found the address that was in the story, the address was a vacant lot. So I hollered over at the rewrite desk. I said, 'You got the wrong address in this story. This is a vacant lot.' The copy chief that night was a guy named Vic Barnes. And he says, 'Sit down, Vern. The whole story's a fake,' unquote."
Whoa.
Yeah.
Everybody knew. Everybody was just like, nah, this is all bullshit. Run with it. What?
I don't know what happened after this, but it's interesting that he wasn't immediately like, and then I quit.
Right.
He was,
highly telling.
He was complicit.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It sounds like he was actively involved.
You're implicating yourself at this point. So eventually Hearst controlled one of the largest media empires in American history. He had 26 newspapers, 16 magazines, 11 radio stations.
Eesh.
At his peak, 1 in 5 Americans read a Hearst newspaper every week.
God damn.
20% of the population. He was incredibly wealthy. Are you familiar with Hearst Castle?
No.
He built this massive mansion/compound/palatial estate in San Simeon, California. The main house alone has 115 rooms. Okay. And that's not including the 3 guest houses, Casa del Mar, Casa del Monte, and Casa del Sol. It must be nice when your house has more houses.
House high.
I thought you had to have 2 houses before it could make more houses.
No, they're asexual and just multiply. As long as you got carpenters, more houses.
So you've never seen it. You haven't driven past it on Highway 1?
I'm sure I have, but you've seen me in a car. I'm just sort of space out and stare at things and, imagine the hills or boobies. I don't know. My brain just doesn't go there.
I haven't gone, but when will I have like an extra 3 hours on my trip that's already taking like 6 hours?
Yeah.
Because it's usually going to L.A. and I'm just like, that's a long trip.
Yeah, fuck that. I don't want to stop for 3 hours on a 7-hour ride. I'm not doing that. No.
I don't even want to stop to go to the bathroom. That's what Coke cans are for.
Wow. You have a lot of cuts in your penis.
Yeah, I know. I should have just said bottle.
Bottle makes sense. Yeah. Coke can, you like pain. You're into that weird shit.
Now, apparently, it's a museum, though. So if you do go, you'll, better yourself, Duncan. Go to Hearst Castle.
No.
Did you hiss? Did you hiss at the idea of acquiring knowledge? Yeah, I guess you deal with that enough on this show.
Yeah, I don't have to. It's forced on me bi-monthly. I don't need more knowledge. I'm fine.
Had enough of facts.
Leave me alone.
I need some Hearst journalism.
Nah. Otherwise, I'd be a flat earther. It's fine. I'm just, I don't want more facts.
I always felt like you look like a flat earther. Just throwing that out.
Wow. Ever been punched live on a podcast? That's amazing.
I know you're not.
Yeah.
But
I look like one.
If there were a lineup and they said choose the flat earther, I'm trying to think of someone who looked more like a flat earther.
Shane Rogers was killed today.
But the reason it's become a museum is because there were a lot of notable things in the house and the surrounding area that he had acquired. He was very into acquisition. Just
Most
in general.
rich people are.
Yeah, the acquisition of dollar bills, and then also the acquisition of art, and the acquisition of like ladies and people and influence and
Acquisitiveness, a very rich person trait.
yeah, not inquisitive.
No,
he would have,
acquisitive.
He would have been a better journalist, but yes, just acquisitive.
Yes.
Hearst's companion, his main squeeze, appropriate to the time. That's what they said.
Look at those gams.
Was Marion Davies.
Okay.
She was a showgirl whom he very much loved. I think there were real feelings there. And he propelled her into Hollywood movies. Together, they entertained Hollywood's biggest, best, and brightest. San Simeon became a social mecca for the stars. Now, apart from being famous, the two men, Hearst and Wells, could not have been more different. Hearst, as we mentioned, started out liberal, but very quickly became extremely conservative. He hated minorities. He distrusted Jews. He supported the Nazi Party. He was an isolationist and an anti-communist. He loathed President Roosevelt after initially supporting him. So also a little bit of a hypocrite.
Yeah.
And he hated the New Deal.
Gotcha.
On the other hand, Orson Welles, his first directing job was with the New York Federal Theater Project, which was actually part of the New Deal and supplied acting jobs to unemployed black actors. So these two men were already primed to hate each other.
Yeah. Or at least in a room not talk to each other. Sure.
But there is another player in the story. This is the guy who actually lit the fuse because I think these two would have just disliked each other from a distance.
Right.
Without the interference of this instigator.
Ooh. Always love an instigator. One could say I live with an instigator.
How dare you speak of Inky this way? He is innocent. Have you ever heard, Duncan, of Herman Mankiewicz?
No, but he sounds like half my people.
He was a famous Hollywood scriptwriter and also a raging alcoholic. So he was your people in
many ways.
Numerous ways.
Nice.
He was Jewish and also degenerate.
Yes. I mean, admit it. If you go into a bar and who are you going to talk to? You're going to talk to the guy drinking his Shirley Temple in the corner reading a book? Or are you talking to the degenerate in the corner surrounded by people doing drugs being like, that's who I'm talking to?
Yeah. Well, that's who I'm talking to if I want to have a good time.
Yeah.
If I'm curious about just humanity in general, I'm going to talk to the weirdo who's drinking a Shirley Temple and reading a book in a bar.
You're going to get stabbed.
That suddenly was very fascinating for me. I'm creating my own backstory for this absolute psychopath.
Got it.
Right now. So he had actually helped write some screenplays for very popular movies. The Wizard of Oz, The Pride of St. Louis,
which I've seen millions of times.
One of my favorites.
Yeah.
Herman Mankiewicz has been described as a brilliant literary mind and a hard-drinking gambler.
Sweet.
Sadly, a relatively common combination.
Yeah.
He was also surly, which may be related to the excessive drinking part.
Or the writing part. You aren't the nicest person ever, and you've written a book or two.
Fair. According to journalist P.J. Grisser, quote, Herman scorned the new form of cinema. Once, as a punishment, Warner Brothers assigned him a Rin Tin Tin movie. He wrote 120 pages to get to a climax in which the titular dog ran into a burning building with a baby in its mouth.
That's awesome.
Honestly, respect.
Absolutely.
No notes.
No, that's a 116-page fuck you, and I appreciate it.
Now, this is interesting and kind of unexpected. Mankiewicz was actually an unlikely drinking buddy of William Randolph Hearst. Would not see that coming.
Not to call that, especially with the whole Jewish thing.
Yeah, I think Hearst was very selectively anti-Semitic. You know?
Oh, he's one of those guys like, you're one of the good ones.
That's it.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah. Mankiewicz, on the other hand, I kind of understand why he liked William Randolph Hearst.
Money?
Alcohol and money, and, you know, the guy had a bunch of extra houses to hang out in.
Yeah, and a perchance for beautiful women. So, you know, not bad.
Mm-hmm. But as you might imagine, the screenwriter, the surly alcoholic screenwriter, somehow wore out his welcome at San Simeon. He would spend a lot of time there for a while, and then he did the angry alcoholic thing and got booted.
Yeah, we alcoholics, we occasionally get surly and then we turn into bastards and then people get mad at us. I get it. By the way, I can't hear San Simeon anymore without seeing William Randolph Hearst's construction guide just being like, all right, it's fine. Put everything in there. Just no monkeys. Like, I don't know what San Simeon means, but all I can hear is Sans Simeon.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Without Simeons.
Without Simeons. Non-Simeon area.
It's not spelled that way. Simeon is S-I... Oh, well, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. I'm stupid. I get it. I'm just saying, every time you say it, I'm like, why no monkeys? I like monkeys.
I'd like to point out you are clearly the one who derails us.
Oh, yeah.
Every single time.
Every
time.
No.
Now, this was around the same time that Orson Welles had secured that 2-film contract with RKO. Welles was desperate to find a topic and a plot for the first of these films. And so he figured, you know what? I will consult a brilliant screenwriter.
Yes. Who happens to be also a vengeful, drunken, antisocial dickhead. Sure. This is going to work out great.
With a chip on his shoulder.
Right.
And an axe to grind.
Absolutely.
Mankiewicz produced a 325-page manuscript that he called American. An average script, by the way, around 90 pages.
Yeah.
So this was thorough.
Verbose.
It was a good script and thorough.
Thorough.
So interestingly, Orson Welles also wrote his own version of the script. He took this idea and was like...
More pages? Fuck you, both of you.
Yeah, because there wasn't enough of that.
Jesus
Gotta make more of that. There is actually a lot of controversy over who should get the majority of the writing credit because they both had scripts.
And massive egos.
And probably tiny penises, because that usually goes along with having...
You're hoping, but I'm pretty sure on Orson's side,
no.
he's an elf.
Oh my God, I hope the man had a tiny penis.
You cannot, no justice.
We talked about the trifecta.
Yeah.
There's the quadrupta.
Quadfecta.
So either way, the two men would produce competing scripts, I guess, but they ended up actually collaborating. We don't know whose script was more represented. Yeah, but either way, they came up with the framework of this movie that they were calling Citizen Kane. That would become a cinematic classic, and it was a brutal critique of the life and character of one William Randolph Hearst.
Yeesh.
Here is the basic plot. It's about a rich, cruel, pretty much unredeemable by the end, I guess, villain named Charles Foster Kane. And crucially, it contains a very unflattering depiction of Charles Foster Kane's relationship with a bumbling and talentless singer, clearly intended to be Hearst's girlfriend, Marion Davies. Although, to be fair, it is a really harsh portrait and not very true to life. Marion Davies was not a complete talentless hack. And this might have been where Welles and Mankiewicz kind of misfired.
Yeah, I'm sensing a lot of, dark, drunken nights of just like, and how do we hit him? Let's get his girl.
Low blow.
Low blow, and a really good way to lose your audience, because that's just fucked up. Don't shoot randomly into a crowd, people. Shoot into the car with the bad guy.
Yeah, so that was a miscalculation. Also probably the part where Orson Welles would not just direct, but would also star in the film, playing William Randolph Hearst. Oh. I mean, Charles Foster Kane.
Right, yeah, sorry. Yeah. Easily made. Oopsie.
So you have not seen it?
No.
Okay,
but I do know Rosebud.
Oh, Lord. Spoiler alert. Rosebud is a sled.
Yeah.
In the very beginning of the movie, it starts with him dying. And when he's dying, he says the word Rosebud. And that becomes the driving force, the sort of mystery behind the movie. Dumbest twist in movie history. I know it's a revered masterpiece, and I love the movie. I watched it again for this. I'd seen it when I was younger. Freaking brilliant movie. That part sucks. I'm just being honest.
Hey,
we can be real. He's dead. Fuck him.
He doesn't care.
That's the big twist. Yeah. That when he was a kid, he enjoyed riding a sled.
Maybe it's supposed to represent like he misses his youth when he was carefree and still
it's
innocent.
Kids like sleds.
Sled.
That's the whole
Got
point.
it.
Yes,
Dogs love trucks. Kids love sleds. Got it.
Yes, that is the idea. Is that I don't know. I'm projecting here, but I think the idea is that deep down, even though he became this crusty, old, angry, bitter individual who did a lot of damage in the world, deep down he was just that little boy who just wanted his sled. And maybe if they hadn't taken him away from that sled back when he was having a good time in the very beginning of the movie, he's on a sled and then he has to leave. It's like if you hadn't taken that damn sled away, none of this would happen. Don't take sleds from boys. That's the moral of the greatest movie ever made.
Just don't take boys off sleds. Let them die of hyperexposure and cold.
What is the thing that as a young boy, someone could have taken away from you that would have then set you on the path of being a vengeful, angry millionaire?
My G.I. Joes. My G.I. Joe collection. Yeah.
See, if someone had just taken Duncan's G.I. Joes, he would have become a successful millionaire who also wreaked havoc in the universe.
I mean, I don't want to become a successful Republican millionaire. I don't think that's going to work out well for anyone.
Well, winning. Because you got to keep your damn G.I. Joes and
you
became a loser.
Yeah. Actively. With gusto.
But anyway, other than the Rosebud thing, this is a straight-up masterpiece. Brilliant film. You should watch it. It's freaking great.
Okay.
And we'll get into some of the reasons that it's considered a classic. It is not, however, a subtle portrayal of the main character. Literally, the first 10 minutes of this movie is just a newsreel-style insult montage.
Wow.
The movie starts with Kane's death and then immediately goes hard.
Kane helped to change the world, but Kane's world now is history, and the great yellow journalist himself lived to be history, outlived his power to make it.
Damn.
Alone in his never-finished, already decaying pleasure palace, aloof, seldom visited, never photographed, an emperor of newsprint continued to direct his failing empire, vainly attempted to sway as he once did the destinies of a nation that had ceased to listen to him, ceased to trust him. Then, last week, as it must to all men, death came to Charles Foster Kane.
Ow.
Like I said,
brutal.
Not subtle.
No.
You shouldn't judge the movie from that clip, by the way. It's the yellow journalism style. That is intentional. A lot of this film is basically satire exposing how entertainment and journalism were bleeding together. I mentioned infotainment.
Yep.
It was a warning that if journalism did not change course, it would eventually be undermined by organizations with a biased agenda.
So ignored. Got it.
Otherwise, we could be living in some kind of exploitive corporate dystopia.
Yes. Thank God that didn't happen.
I think you should watch this movie if you like acting. Just watch it for Orson Welles.
I don't.
I
own the movie Cuffs. For fuck's sake.
My point is, it's amazing acting. He portrays Charles Foster Kane when he was a young man, and then all the way until he was older. And greatest eyebrow game in the history of Hollywood.
Oh yeah,
straight up arch going on.
Gotcha. Okay, so like even puts The Rock to shame. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can smell what Welles is cooking.
Oh boy.
I don't know what that means, but it's impressive.
Okay.
Yeah, because you can do a lot of emoting just with the upper part of your face. That's the problem with Botox. They didn't have Botox back then, and they could all eyebrow act. And we've lost that. We've lost the ability to use your forehead in any meaningful way.
Yeah.
In Hollywood.
All the best actors, huge forehead actors.
It's real shit.
That's what they say about Henry Cavill. He's got the eyebrow game, His forehead is very modal.
You got to give good forehead.
Wow. Okay.
Moving on.
Moving right the fuck along.
So obviously the movie does not provide a flattering portrait of William Randolph Hearst, but it's also not completely one-dimensional. I said that toward the end, he does become a villain. There is a villain arc, but it is an arc. Kane starts off, much as William Randolph Hearst did, as an idealist, as a liberal.
Yeah.
Here's a scene of young Charles Foster Kane explaining why his newspaper, the newspaper that he purchased, is attacking corrupt companies that he himself, as a millionaire, is invested in. It seems counterproductive.
Yeah.
So Welles' lawyer speaks first. His name is Mr. Thatcher, and then you'll hear Welles.
Charles, I think I should remind you of a fact that you seem to have forgotten.
Yes.
That you are yourself one of the largest individual stockholders in the public transit company.
The trouble is you don't realize you're talking to two people. As Charles Foster Kane, who owns 82,364 shares of public transit preferred, you see, I do have a general idea of my holdings. I sympathize with you. Charles Foster Kane is a scoundrel. His paper should be run out of town. A committee should be formed to boycott him. You may, if you can form such a committee, put me down for a contribution of $1,000.
My time's
On the
too
other
short.
hand,
Well,
I
I'm
am the
wasting
publisher of the Inquirer. As such, it's my duty, and I'll let you in on a little secret. It's also my pleasure to see to it that decent, hard-working people in this community aren't robbed blind by a pack of money-mad pirates just because they haven't anybody to look after their interests. I'll let you in on another little secret, Mr. Thatcher. I think I'm the man to do it, you see. I have money and property. If I don't look after the interests of the underprivileged, maybe somebody else will. Maybe somebody without any money or property.
Yes, yes,
and that
yes.
would
Money
be too
and property.
bad.
Well, I happened to see your financial statement today, Charles.
Oh, did you?
Now, tell me honestly, my boy, don't you think it's rather unwise to continue this philanthropic enterprise? This Inquirer that's costing you $1 million a year?
You're right, Mr. Thatcher.
Philanthropic?
I did lose $1 million last year. I expect to lose $1 million this year. I expect to lose $1 million next year. You know, Mr. Thatcher, at the rate of $1 million a year, I'll have to close this place in 60 years.
Why the musical choice? I don't get that one.
I love it. It's very like, na 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 na.
I am making joke. Ha, 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 ha. Musical cues.
So I think modern viewers, some people might not be able to get past the kind of old-timey delivery and the self-serious dialogue and maybe that melodramatic and silly music. But if you can look at the movie as a standalone piece of art and in the context of its time, it is, again, just a legit masterpiece.
Okay.
And the movie was groundbreaking in so many ways. So I mentioned it's a nonlinear narrative, right? That wasn't something that was happening a lot back then. It starts with the death of the main character, and then the narrative jumps back and forth through time, filling in the gaps. There's this incredible scene of Charles Kane and his wife having breakfast, and each time the camera cuts to one of them, it becomes clear that this is like a different breakfast in the future. And we see the entire progression of their relationship over the course of one meal.
Talking about a montage.
And then also the matte paintings, the miniatures. This film feels massive. Once you get past the kind of silly Dracula castle in the beginning, it's probably the oldest movie that I've ever seen that actually still looks visually impressive.
Huh.
So on January 3rd, 1941, a rough cut of the still unfinished film was screened for a small group of magazine writers. According to PBS, quote, nearly everyone present realized that they had seen a work of brilliance except Hedda Hopper, the leading gossip columnist of the day.
Yeah. Sounds like it.
The perfect gossip columnist name.
Yep.
My name is Hedda Hopper, and my job is spilling the tea. I'm a certified tea spiller.
Yikes.
Quote, she hated the movie, calling it a vicious and irresponsible attack on a great man. Unquote.
Someone knows which side the bed is buttered.
Yeah, there might have been a little bit of bias here. Hopper, not just a gossip columnist, as it would turn out, she was also a filthy snitch.
Nice.
Because she immediately ran to William Randolph Hearst and gave him the heads up that there was a movie coming out and he was probably not going to like it. He might be a little unhappy with this theatrical release for reasons.
For all of the reasons.
I think it would be fair to say that Hearst did not take the news well. And I don't know if he ever saw this movie. I don't think he did. But I think he took people's word for it. He was not a forgive and forget kind of guy. And it's interesting. I'm wondering from the perspective of Welles and Mankiewicz. Like, I don't know what Orson Welles thought was going to happen. He was a very smart man. And I'm sure he knew that Hearst was not going to take this well. But I don't think he understood just how ugly it was going to get. So Hearst launched an absolutely brutal campaign against the movie. And once again, you sort of have to admire the gumption and impressive spite of this almost 80-year-old hater.
Venom is sweet and strong.
He banned all mentions of the film across all of his newspapers and his radio stations. So no ads, no reviews, no listings of times that it was playing, nothing.
So 20% of the American market gone.
Yeah. His journalists were also encouraged to attack Orson Welles personally instead of covering the movie. So instead of an ad for the movie, there was just a hit piece against one 24-year-old with a giant penis.
Right. Yeah. It's hard to find an attack on that, I gotta say. Hats off to those journalists. What are you gonna say about him?
So his papers accused Welles of being a communist sympathizer. They questioned his patriotism and his morals. Hearst even tried to destroy the film physically.
Whoa.
So studio executives, influenced by some of Hearst's allies, offered $805,000 to RKO with the goal of buying the movie negative and burning it.
Why the 5?
You know what? I was just going to say that. As I was reading it, I was like, what? Why would you?
What the 5?
Yeah, did they like bargain up from people?
801, here 801, 802.
Going twice, going 3 times. Why didn't you go to 810?
Yeah, if you'd gone to 810, you probably would have got that bitch.
I'd have had it.
Yeah.
So when RKO refused, Hearst then threatened to expose some scandals involving RKO movie executives. Extortion.
Right.
Like, we basically moved from shenanigans and pressure campaigns into straight up blackmail.
Right. Illegal shit.
This is an escalation. Now, of course, Hearst also leveraged his army of Hollywood gossip columnists like Hedda Hopper and Luella Parsons.
Ooh, that's another good one.
She was one of his key enforcers. She was featured in 700 newspapers worldwide. So Hearst's allies and operatives, they pressured major theater chains to refuse to screen the film. The result was limited release and poor box office performance for a cinematic classic. At the 1942 Academy Awards, the film earned 9 nominations, including Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, but it only won 1. It won Best Original Screenplay for Wells and Mankiewicz. And this is amazing. During the 1942 ceremony, whenever Wells' name was mentioned, the audience booed.
Wow.
Wells did not attend the ceremony, smartly. The audience response might have had something to do with the fact that Wells was not exactly beloved in Hollywood even before the negative publicity campaign. I'm not saying that people were jealous. I'm just saying people were probably jealous.
Probably a little bitter, a little salty.
And also, I think Wells was one of those people who was a genius and knew it.
Yeah.
And that never goes over well.
They're fun.
So ultimately, Hearst's revenge was basically successful. Hearst died at 88 in 1951, and at the time he died, he believed that he had won the battle. And I guess he had, but Wells' reputation would ultimately win the war. Citizen Kane was resurrected in the 1950s by European audiences. Europeans a little more progressive cinematically. And then the film was reintroduced to America in 1956, 5 years after the death of Hearst, with a re-release and television screenings. And film schools might be the real hero here, because film professors and historians, obviously, they were able to put aside the controversy and just look at what was on the film.
The art, right.
And over the following years, the film just became canonized. It became recognized for the achievement that it was. Wells did get to enjoy some of the accolades, at least emotionally, if not financially.
Right.
He spent much of his career struggling for funding and creative control. He would never have the kind of carte blanche that he had with Citizen Kane. He never really regained the level of Hollywood support. He, in fact, in later interviews, he often would say that Citizen Kane was both his greatest achievement and the thing that haunted his entire career.
Which is fair.
It was an achievement and an albatross.
Right.
Wells died in 1985.
Oh, he got up there.
That's long after Citizen Kane had become a permanent fixture in film history. You could definitely say that he eventually won the war of public perception, but it was absolutely a bittersweet victory.
Yeah, sounds awfully Pyrrhic.
Pyrrhic victory. Yeah, especially since Hearst got to die with the belief that he had completely destroyed his rival.
Yeah.
Which he kind of had.
Yeah.
Arguably.
Yeah.
In the end, according to producer Thomas Lennon, quote, Hearst and Wells were proud, gifted, and destructive, geniuses each in his own way. The fight that ruined them both was thoroughly in character with how they'd lived their lives, unquote.
I mean, go out like you live it, I guess.
I have a lot of sympathy for Wells because I identify with him as a genius with a huge penis. No. And incredible good looks.
Right.
It's a curse.
It's a curse. I get it. It's
burden,
hard to be Shane.
It's the burden that I bear.
Yeah.
And it's a heavy burden. I got to carry it around
Hangs to the left.
Wheelbarrow.
Yeah.
No, as being a guy who can't help but pick fights with power.
Yeah.
And also, Hearst fucking sucked.
Yeah.
He was a bitter, angry old man who had ruined journalism and is responsible for a lot of what we deal with today. Who knows if you have the National Enquirer without this awful, rich old man.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think he fought the good fight in a way, but I think definitely like thinking this is going to go over without a whimper is, dumb.
The one area where, just don't go after the guy's girlfriend.
I mean,
It's not necessary.
I agree. I wonder if he wouldn't have got as much heat if he just hadn't done that.
Yeah.
I don't know that William Randolph Hearst is as good enough person to just be like, I'll take this on the chin. He didn't touch my girl. I think he would just be like, anything, fuck you, die.
No, I think you're right. And I think, again, I don't even think he ever saw the movie.
Yeah.
I think he heard this guy's going after you, and he was like, destroy him. And that's all I got.
Okay. Well, fucking Jesus. Now I'm underwhelming now. I got nothing going for me. I'm going to go make a date with a rope. I'll be fine.
Jesus Christ. We it ended on a sad enough note. And he had to drag suicide into it.
That's what I do. Do we have any reviews? Or
We do. We have a couple reviews, and we have a new member. So,
Really?
Yes, Inner Bloom became a minion and pledged in Swedish kroner.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's cool. A Swedish minion
Yes.
finally infiltrating the Nordic countries. It's about time.
I know we have In Love with Mysteries and Thoggle already, so on the Discord. So yeah, I know we got them
Where are they from?
around there.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, why do you ask me geography questions? Go fuck yourself. I don't know. I just know that they're from there.
They're tall white people. What do we get over it?
Fucking who cares?
Wait.
You know where they come from? Fuck off. There's only like 4 countries.
So we do have some reviews. And remember last time I mentioned that in Spotify, you can leave comments, but only on individual episodes.
Right.
And so some of the Insomniacs took that to heart and left comments on individual episodes, but clarified this is a review for the entire podcast.
Ah.
Yeah. So Muffin,
Muffin
said in parentheses, regarding the podcast as a whole, Miffy is easily in my top 3 for podcasts across the whole internet.
Wow.
Across the entire internet.
All of the internet?
The internet's big, too.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this. It's like a
Worldwide, it's reaching.
It's a web that reaches almost the entire world.
Yeah. You're not lying.
And then we have another review. It was Madeline Heath. And she mentioned that whenever an episode releases, boom, mood 10 times better.
Nice.
Thanks for being such an amazing podcast. Also, I wouldn't mind a shout out. And then she put Madeline Heath, and her nickname is Mad Cat.
Gotcha.
So, shout out to Mad Cat.
You didn't say it had to be a good one. You just wanted a shout out. So there it is.
And I think that's... Oh, no. Also, Willy Wonka's Coke dealer has...
That is an amazing name.
Yeah, fair, Willy Wonka, energetic.
He was on some shit.
I hope it's Coke, because otherwise, man, mania's a bitch.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. But Willy Wonka's Coke dealer did not leave a review, but I just a shout out to this person for always writing, be the first to leave a comment. Every time. They're not even first,
right.
Literally just writing, be the first to leave a comment.
Right.
Multiple times.
You've got it down to a science, my dude.
Props.
Yeah.
All right.
So, please do head to the Patreon. The price of a small coffee, you can help
I know
us
you always
do more.
say an expensive coffee. That's not. I don't know where you get your coffee, but you can get a Patreon subscription for like $3.
Yeah.
That is, you can't get a coffee for $3 these days.
I think you can. It's very small.
Really?
Yeah.
A shot?
No.
A coffee shot?
It's like a shot and a half. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a 12 ounce. It's
I
not
don't know.
big.
I don't know where you get your coffee, and I don't know that it's coffee.
7-Eleven.
Okay, yeah. So it's not real coffee.
No.
Okay.
It's tar. Anyway, so head to the Patreon and help us out a little bit. And also, we're still talking about strapping people into chairs with the eyebrow spreaders, with the eyelid spreaders, and make them listen and watch the show up to an after midnight. And then, as per usual, and forever after,
Knowledge is power.
sleep is overrated.